I'm Chad. This is the Dorky N40. Hold on a second. You do? Wow, that's great. I love doing what I do. You really want to do that? That is just amazing. That was Steve from R1. He watches my videos. He loves what we do here. He wants to send me a car. I said, okay. I'm Chad. This is the Dorky N40 RC channel, and we are going to make you faster today. That's right, guys. We finally had somebody reach out to us, and we didn't reach out to them. They saw me on my videos. Steve saw me crash my car. They love what we do for the community here and all the videos and stuff. And he said, hey, I want to send you a car as a thank you for everything that you do. Now, listen really closely here. This is for YouTube and everybody else that's out there. I received the car. The car was a free gift. No strings attached. I did not have any commitments. He didn't have any requests to do any kind of review. He said I didn't have to do anything for content wise for the car, but of course I want to do something for you guys. And of course, like, why wouldn't you want to help out somebody who wants to help us go faster? So that's a win. I'm not being paid for any of this promotion or anything like that at all. I got the car, a shirt, and a couple hats. In case of you didn't notice, it's been sitting back there in that box for a couple weeks now. Things have been kind of crazy with life and everything. And the way that this whole video is working, it's not really working how I wanted it to work, because I wanted to have the car all done and get some beautiful B-roll footage, because this thing deserves it. But we will get there, and we will show this car in more of its glory and everything else. Steve's only request to me was to go over this car, tune it, learn it, and just enjoy it and go faster. And along the way, hopefully I will learn a lot more, and maybe I'll get some tips and tricks. Like, I don't have any super secret setups or super secret tunes or anything like that at all. What I have here is the newest version, a version of some stuff that actually is not even out yet, or some drivers don't even have, of the certain parts that are on the DC1, which has been labeled the DC1 prototype. They don't have a name for it. I think I'm going to name it Starbuck. So you guys might be able to make the correlation there if you are sci-fi fans. So I'm pretty happy because, it's been my favorite car for a long time. I mentioned before how interested I was in the DC1. Why wouldn't you be? The thing is, the winning this car, it's won like $80,000 with the prize money, at least over a year. It's won King of the Streets, the SoFlo. They were really performing well at Super Chips before they got shut down. Of course, I don't think there was any DC1s running up at Maumee, but I was always just kind of intrigued by this car because it seemed so mysterious, 5, 6, 7 months ago, when things were really, really kicked off at MPRC and they dropped the floating body mount system and everything like that. Things were hard to get, but they are making a super push for people like you, the average Joe, to have a great affordable option, upgrade path, high end, however you want to go with the DC1. There's a lot of cool technology that is in here that I just cannot wait to show you guys. And we're going to get started with a lot of that right now. You can go right onto R1's site and buy this complete kit right now. You have a lot of different choices with either the V1 or the V2 shock damper kits. I'm running the V1. Steve says that they have like some half-pound tune spring options available, which interests me a lot for like massive tuning options. And you can pick whether or not you want to go with a lay down or a stand-up transmission. I have the stand-up transmission version here, and also you get the wheelie bar, floating body mount system, everything else that comes inside there. They've got the live living instruction manual, which we'll talk about here on the video, and you'll see all kinds of stuff and how committed they are to actually pushing this car out finally, now that they've got through all the other amazing stuff that they've been doing, and their electronics are just running and kicking ass in every NOPREPRC RC car nearly out there. Now, one of the first things you're going to see, especially here looking at the floating body mounts, the hubs, and everything else like that, is that R1 has taken it to the next level to go ahead and do their own injection molding process. And what that process is going to do is allow them to make better cars, better tolerances at better prices. And that is their entire goal. Now, right now, you can buy the same car that has won all of that prize money. Even a better version of the car for $800 comes with everything that you're going to need. You know, of course, you can always start hopping up things with anything that you want, but you're going to get important things on there like the forward mounted servo, the floating body mount kit, everything else like that. You're also going to start getting like the newer, smaller shocks, no more buggy shocks or anything like that. So the beautiful stuff about this injection molded as well is if you look at it really closely, you'll kind of see that there's kind of like a foggy pattern type of to it. So this is injection molded with actual carbon. So it's not the stuff that's actually made with like the associated stuff where they use more of an infused carbon powder. This is actually a small strand carbon fiber. So it's going to be more rigid. It's going to be more resistant to resonance, more resistant to cracking and breaking and everything else like that. So we've got it all over the car here. This is just a quick look at the front end with everything. Of course, they've got their awesome injection molded bumper, which I absolutely love because I cannot tell you how many little crashes I've had that have just clipped the end of my breakout bumper and everything like that. I also know that's a very weak point on some of the other cars that are out there, especially when you start loading the front up with things like weights and the servo and the forward mounted servo. So they actually did send me a servo too, which is just totally awesome. So that's great. They sent me a full stack of brass kits so we can go ahead and do everything with as far as front weighting and all that kind of stuff. And there's different sizes of this bumper as well. So I think they have like a small, medium, and a heavy or something like that. We'd have to look on the website to verify that. So you can actually get different shapes and sizes of this, you know, depending upon what kind of weight you're looking for or things like that. And then maybe in the future, there's going to be some different designs as well. Now, one thing about the chassis is the chassis is already narrow enough to run certain bodies like the Mach 22. I know that like some other competitors' body, chassis can't run some of those bodies without a little bit of modification because they're a little wide up front. So things like that are actually being changed. I mean, they're ready to go here on the DC1. So that's the entire front end here. You can see the floating body mount system, how that actually works. And, you know, the whole thing of the floating body mount system is basically to press down. So down force, pushing down on the tires. That's why it's connected to the hubs out here and everything. So that way we get maximum benefit of the down force without really disturbing the chassis at all. So it's just pushing down on the tires, increasing your forward grip, downforce, and all that kind of stuff. We can flip over the actual car here if you want to take a look at the bottom. So there's a sweet clean bottom plate there. I love no more interchangeable pieces and parts like I had on the 5-star. And in my opinion, one of the best things about this, they have this actual chassis is an actual 4mm chassis. So they make this chassis in two different flavors. They have a basic and a tuned. It would have been super sweet if I would have got the tuned version, but hey, I am not going to complain. So here is a look at the actual tuned version that has a few cutouts in it, probably to save some weight, and it's got R1WURKS in it, and it looks like it might have a few more holes. It's really hard to say because as you can see by looking at this baby, there is a lot of holes going on in this chassis all the way from the front to the back. Just nothing but holes for you guys to mount and do anything that you want to. The carbon fiber is super thick. I like the 4mm. The reason why is because I've seen my car and I know other cars start to lose performance with 3mm because we're pushing these things so hard that if you do not pay super attention to all of your screws, Loctite and all that stuff, what happens is that you have less carbon fiber going through on these countersunk screws, and these holes here will actually start to whittle out. So that is a huge issue. So you can see nearly every part on this car, including the arms and stuff here, are just perfectly molded, you know, with nice touches, the little R1 logos and stuff like that. So super premium look on everything. I absolutely love it. Now, again, not all of these parts are available yet on the R1 website, but anything works. A lot of this stuff is compatible with B6, which I know some people might agree with and some people might not, but let's face it, the B6 platform is all proven. It's great stuff. They are making modifications, of course, to, as we can see here, to make their own parts. But it's nice to know that if you're at a race and you break something in a pinch, you can throw on a cheap set of buggy arms or something like that, as long as you got the right size of everything, the right size dog bones, and all that stuff, of course, which we'll talk about when we get to the rear end. Now, R1 has an actual real living manual that they've been working on, and we're going to go through this manual as we do this build. That was Steve's main request, was that I go through the car, go over it, do all that kind of stuff. Now, it didn't come completely assembled, so I've had to do things like turnbuckles and shocks, and then of course go through and, you know, just kind of mount everything. We got to mount the electronics and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be going through that there. Now, what they've also done is they have been releasing individual build videos for each page of their manual. Some of those don't line up currently, but they're working on that stuff. But they have really been pushing out the content like crazy onto their stuff. I see they actually have made some changes to their YouTube channel, which makes me happy to see. So just look and search for R1 Brushless Motor Lab. You'll see the R1 signal right there. And if you just look at how committed they are to getting out the DC1, you're going to see all of that commitment right there. And really, that's what Steve's whole point was, that everybody's running R1 electronics, but they've got this car that literally has won every big race. The thing is that with supply chains issues and the way that they've had their team and their business focused to bring all of us the speed controllers, the batteries and stuff like that, now they can finally shift to bringing out the car and putting it out there for all of us to enjoy. So I'm super happy about it, and you guys should be too. I know some people are chassis shopping. Some competitive chassis have just been announced or released or something like that. So, you know, I can't be more pleased or happy, of course, for this opportunity to get this thing for free and to race it. And, you know, again, it's going to have Castle in it. He said he didn't care what I put in it. He just wanted to go faster. I can't, you know, believe just how genuine he was, and hopefully you guys like understand that and get that too. So it's just fantastic. It's taken a little bit of time here to get things going, because of, like I said, personal life and all that kind of stuff. So let's take a look now at the rear of the car. And in the rear of the car, you're going to see a lot of the same stuff that we saw before. All, again, everything just beautifully embossed and stuff with the molding process, the actual R1 logos, R1WURKS. I love all of it. He threw in some of the titanium hardware, titanium ball studs and stuff like that for my build. Absolutely fantastic. This is going to be running the stand-up version of the transmission. He sent me stuff for a laydown, but I figured I would go ahead and run the stand-up since I never have before. And it's completely aluminum and everything, and it's all their parts on the inside there. And then, of course, there's the back end here where their actual single wheelie bar will attach to. And again, more of the floating body mount mechanism. Without the shocks on it, you can really see how this thing does, and you can see how it actually is pivoting and, you know, just pushing down on the tires. So it's just fantastic. All this stuff is just super solid. There's the tolerances on these parts is just amazing. Now, of course, I had this unscrewed here a little bit, but if we come back up here to the front, and if you want to just talk about tolerances and these arms, I mean, there is no wiggle at all in that at all. There's no shimming. No shimming at all that's going to be needed in there or anything. If anything, I might have to loosen things up a little bit, but that's fine with me. I would rather have a car that I need to loosen up a little bit than one that's completely wore out like my 5-star has been. Now, of course, I do have to be critical about a few things, and the couple things on the back that I don't like is that it is a little complicated because of the transmission riser and everything back there. You can take a look and see they're still using the B6 pills and all that kind of stuff. And you can see those nice, beautiful R1 risers right there that get the transmission up onto a plate, all that kind of stuff. The thing is with the pills and everything, you know, they work. It gives you a lot of extra modifications. I know it helps keep prices down and everything, but in the future, it would be awesome to see them develop like their own toe blocks and stuff that like the Apollo has, so that way we can just kind of get rid of all that stuff and take out a point of failure, because pills do wear out, they do break in crashes, and you got a lot of stuff that you have to take off here to actually get to those. And then you got like hinge pins falling out and spacers and everything. So it would be nice to go to an actual fitted block. They only need to come out with a couple different versions. I'm pretty sure everybody now is settled on 2.0, so 2 degrees of toe and then 0 degrees of squat. Now, again, it's more money, more development and everything, but I think hopefully that they would get there. They got to get other things going first. This is a proven platform. Again, it's going to work, gives you endless tuning possibilities, and we'll keep the cost down. So we'll see what happens in the future. I have no insight on that, but that's just something that I've been thinking out, especially after seeing the stuff that's going to be happening with like the 2023 Apollo, which we can't ignore, that's coming out. But again, it's not a proven car yet. People have had it, but it hasn't won 80 grand, has it? Now, of course, I understand a lot of you aren't just going to go out and buy a chassis immediately because all of a sudden Chad at Dorky and 40 RC got one and they're awesome, but it's definitely something to consider. And R1 sells a lot more on their website than, you know, just drag parts and ESCs and stuff. They've been in the game for a long time, and by all of the work that you can see that they've done here, they're super committed. And I've had a lot of discussions with Steve on, you know, on the phone, over text and stuff like that, for multiple hours over the past couple weeks. So what we're going to do with the car is we're going to just start slowly going over it and building it up and kind of comparing it with the manual and the videos and all that stuff. So that way you guys have a full reference knowledge of what it takes to put one of these together, and then also maybe to help these guys out to just find things that I've actually missed, because I don't know if anybody out there would be as tedious, you know, as I would, or would feel comfortable letting them know. So, you know, Steve has been totally open to any feedback at all that we can provide. If you guys have anything that you would like R1 to know about, you know, drop it in the comments below. I'm sure he will read the comments and everything from this video. But hey, you know, like, to me, this is amazing. You know, I'm not a team driver or nothing like that. You know, I'm just Chad, and he understands that, like, we do that, and he knows that there'll be other chassis and stuff that we will be looking at for sure. No doubt about that. But for now, the DC1 is what we are going to be running, and I am totally committed to it and excited to finally get this thing going. I actually haven't pulled the trigger on that Sanwa in a drag race in a couple weeks, so it's been pretty sad. So hopefully we'll have this thing completely done here. It's Thursday night. We got a race coming up Saturday night. My goal is to have it ready to go and out there on the track, testing whatever we need to do to get this baby ready to go by Saturday. So again, can't say enough about the quality. We'll be taking a lot closer look at some of the other parts as we go through and we're doing the build on this and everything. But so far, everything has just been fantastic, and I don't really know what else to say. Like, that's it, guys. I'm super happy. I couldn't have done any of this without your guys' support and all of your I just love each and every one of you guys, and hopefully we can just keep on learning and building and growing together. So this is a huge step for you and us, for a manufacturer like this just to reach out on their own. It's kind of like my dream that we have finally cracked into that echelon, and they understand how important, you know, videos and, you know, they understand that YouTube is the #2 search engine out there behind Google. And, you know, who wants to be involved and just plug away on like Facebook drama and stuff like that all the time, when you can actually come here, get real information, have good debate about it and everything else. You know, I never have to like moderate or delete comments or something like that at all. And if somebody leaves a bad comment or something, I usually just say, Thanks a lot, man. So anyway, guys, love each and every one of you. Thanks a lot. Come back here because we're going to have a ton more on this DC1, as you know, and we are definitely going to be going faster. Peace.